Rick, you ready to get to it?
Yes, sir. What do we got on tap?
The topic here is what are you doing with the moments that unfold in front of you? And Keith 1.0 was, for the most part, reactionary. On the outside, it may have looked like I was proactive and I was this great planner.
Mm.
But inside, that kind of behavior, for the most part, was causing me a lot of suffering, obsessing about planning things or trying to account for every possible scenario that might unfold and having plan A, B, D, and all those things. And so that's how I was doing with most of the moments that were unfolding in front of me, uh, or looking to the future. One thing that I've done, well, here's a short answer. I made a mess of most of the moments that unfolded in front of me. I completely squandered what was there.
There you go.
So, a couple examples are, let's say somebody close to you says, "Hey, I need to talk to you," or "We need to talk." What I would do in that moment is I would make it all about me. Like, what do they think I did wrong? What they got to say? This is not going to go well. Here we go again, and I would just start to shut down and withdraw. But here I am, somebody's close to me. He just said they need to talk to me. Like the wise person that honored that moment, it's like, oh my God, something must be going on. How can I be here for that person? How can I just be open and listen? So that's one example. Another example is something might happen with your kid, right? At school. And so, that could be the focus. It's like I want to really, be focused on my kids' well-being. But other people will start to, after a while, some parents will, especially if there's been a divorce or the parental partnership isn't as strong as you would like, they start blaming the other parent for the kid not doing something. When they're at your house, this is what happens. When they're here, this is what happens. I was listening to one of my friends this morning when I was at the barber. And no, I don't have any hair, so I go to the barber for this. And so I was at the barber, and he was one of my friends who was there. I was just listening, not judging, but just observing. And he was talking about his daughter was going off to college next year, and that her grades were average, and so he thought that the daughter should have not been focusing so much on cheer. But the mom pushed her into cheer for the socialization piece of it, and it was something that she loved. Didn't push her, but supported her. So he's blaming the mom and blaming the daughter. And I'm just like, just make it all about, your daughter being the best, well-rounded person. But he was like, she needs to do this to be prepared for school and college and everything else. And that might be the case, but there's another way to be with that moment. And that moment could be to just be be loving and supportive. And how and accepting. And how do I know he wasn't? Because there was quite a bit of bad mouthing about his the mother. And so that's where the acceptance isn't there. So what are you doing with these moments that unfold in front of you? You don't get the promotion. Are you like honoring that you didn't get the promotion and like, hey, there's some things that I might work on so that I'm, a more likely candidate next time? Or are you begrudging the person who did get the promotion? Like what are you doing with those moments? And so again, what I used to do with moments that unfolded in front of me is I used to make a mess of them. And
Mm.
now with the practice, my awareness is heightened so much, and it continues to heighten every day that I do the practice, that I'm learning not to squander those moments. I'm learning to honor them and respect them. And when I do, it creates this opening, man. And when that opening appears, the love just flows right in and fills the whole space. And almost every action that I take after that is beautiful.
Mm.
So what about you, Rick? What are your thoughts about what you or people are doing with the moments that unfold?
Mm. Well, I think my biggest problem that I had before the practice was everything's ego based. All the problems in my life have come from that. The problem that the practice has helped me get past, that I'm very grateful for, is realizing that in the present moment, that is your reality. So, for example, I've got a heck of a week coming up next week. I've got make or break things that'll happen in court on Tuesday, again on Thursday. I've got an irate client, not for anything I've done, but because of her situation that I
Right.
had to deal with on Friday. And I'm trying to get ready for all of those this weekend. But the point is, the old Rick would obsess about all of these things coming up next week. So I would be trading in my present moments, which
Mhm.
are really light and easy right now. I mean, it's a beautiful morning, gardens in bloom, the sun's shining, the air is cool. I could be enjoying that. But instead, what I would be doing would be worrying about whether the client thought I did a good job, whether I got the result I wanted, whether the judge in this case was sympathetic to my case, or was he hostile to my case? I mean, I would be negative goal setting
Yes.
for all the negative outcomes and burning up my present moments
Mm.
while I'm going through that process. So the practice has taught me that you live your life in moment by moment.
Yes.
If what you're fearing or what you're anxious about is a week away, you've got to give it up because it's not here. The only thing that's reality is here, right now, this
Yes.
moment. It's this moment, then this moment, then this moment, then this moment, then this moment. It's not next week. And I learned through the practice to monitor that when that comes up. And one of the little tricks that I've tried to do for myself that's helped a bit, it's not the only way to do it. Meditation, exercise, good diet, sleep, all those things are really key to not having anxiety about an
Right.
upcoming event that has a heavy price tag to it. But the thing that really helped me was the idea that if it's not here, it's not reality. You
Mm.
don't know what the reality is going to be
I love
next
that.
week. If it's not here, it's not reality.
It's not.
Yeah, it's just like trying to worry really hard about the outcome of the Peloponnesian War and see if that changes it from 2,000 years ago. I mean, there are things that you cannot control, and one of them is what happens next week in these various challenges that I have in my practice. So that's helped me to realize that the only reality is your present moment. That's all you have. And then I would also help myself by reminding myself that if I could just live in a day tight compartment, in other words, this is a discrete day, this hour, this minute, this is a discrete time. And I can live according to what I want to achieve and what I want to do in my life and how loving I want to be in it, how respectful, and then how self actualized I feel in this moment. But I can do it effectively when I focus on it just being a single day tight unit of time instead of thinking about all of the stuff that's coming up or all of the stuff that's in the past. You see, if you live in the past, you live in the future, you miss your life.
True. Wow.
Yeah, so those are a couple of things I do. One little trick about fear for me, I was immobilized by fear for a long time. Everybody has fear. I mean, part of it is the imposter syndrome. I mean, I'm a poster child for the imposter syndrome, and I always feel like somebody screwed up and didn't get the right bar exam, and I really flunked, and I've just been living this life for 150 years. So I don't feel like I'm worthy enough to even be in this profession. But anyway, the point of the story is that I think that when you're dealing with those kinds of negative thoughts, it's easy to get down the path of not only am I an imposter, but I got all this stuff that's going to expose me next week. And you start going down that rail, and your present life suffers. You don't have a present life because you're focused on how you're going to fail next week. Ridiculous.
Yeah, Rick, man, you said it. It's so ridiculous and it's unnecessary. But as you mentioned, the suffering for both of us has been, ego driven. And
Yeah.
so, and
Yeah.
when you don't even, and if, how do you know, how do you know if it's your ego? Oh, and if you don't know, then it's your ego. so so you're trapped in it. Like, that's not my ego. Oh, that's what the ego says.
Right. Yeah.
And
It's
so
not me, it's you. It's your ego, not mine.
exactly. And so yeah, I'm just really, to your point, the present moment is reality.
That's
Anything else is past, future, or some kind of concept or narrative that your mind has made up that's not reality. And so you squander, at least I have squandered so many of them. I'm committed to not doing that. I'm committed to working on every single day, being present and honoring and respecting the moment that is unfolding in front of me. I can be in a meeting, somebody doesn't like my idea, I can make a mess of that and not honor that moment. I can listen to the feedback and what they said. Man, maybe the tone could have been nicer. Yep. Okay, maybe they could have, pulled me to the aside. Maybe like most of what they said wasn't helpful. But my practice is to allow whatever was said to be, and to not allow it to my narrative about what happened to affect my ability to be in this moment and appreciate this moment and to honor it. And so I really worked on that, man. And every single day, it gets easier and easier and easier. And like you said, when I take care of my physical self with the sleep and the healthy eating and the daily movement, it makes it easier to do that, right? It's kind of like, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Once I get the basics, nailed down, then I can really start focusing on the stuff that really causes you suffering. And so that's really helped me not be at the mercy of my mind or my ego, so that I don't squander the moments that unfold in front of me. So
beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. Well, it shows you're living that life, and that's why people love you and want to be around you.
oh, thank you, Rick. I love you, my friend.
I love you, bud. We'll check it out next time.
Yes, absolutely.